Hey guys, before we start this video, I just wanted to remind you to claim your free rank 15 runestone from the rewards claims agent before June 18th, because that is when it disappears. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe. Okay guys, so quick disclaimer. Basically, I recorded this video, and I don't know what I was thinking, but in the beginning, I rambled on about basically nothing for about 3 minutes straight. So I've cut that out, and we're just gonna awkwardly interject at about. Oh my god, I'm so off topic. Oh, not there. Okay, so what I want to talk about is how Mod 19 is going to affect the auction house. To put it in a nutshell, basically how the auction house works is the prices are based by the community based on a simple equation of supply and demand. If there's a high supply, if there's a high supply and a low demand, then the item's going to be really cheap. Whereas if it's the opposite and there's a low supply but a high demand, then the item or the object is going to be very expensive. And that is generally how the auction house prices are calculated based on the day's supply and demand. That's why some days it's a little higher, some days it's a little lower. And Mod 19 is definitely going to have that effect on the auction house, and it's going to very significantly alter what we consider to be regular prices. So I want to talk about that. So the main thing that probably everyone's going to be thinking of or talking about when you think of things that could influence the auction house, it's going to be the changes to the Tarmaloon Tradebar Store. As we know, they've added things like, rank 15, rank 13, enchantments. Did they add runestones? Can't remember. Yeah, they did add runestones. There's, a lot of refinement, some of the higher refinement, like the Mark of Potencies, the enchanting stones, things that are a little harder to get. One of the main things a lot of people like to farm was the enchanting stones, and these have gone down in price a lot, and they're going to continue dropping in price. So that's one of the first things. So basically that's what we're going to see. 100 trade bars isn't that hard to get. So when you can get, an enchanting stone or the Mark of Potencies, this is a much easier alternative than trying to buy it from the Wondrous Bazaar, or as it stands now, from the auction house. And my main concern with this is it reminds me of when coalescent wards used to be a thing you could buy with trade bars, and compared to the price now where it's almost 700k on PC, well now, back then when it was on the Tradebar Store, you would sell it for about 430k. So that just gives you an idea of how much of a price difference it can make when these items are available through the Tradebar Store. So obviously these are items that are going to drop in price. I think especially the enchanting stones is just, there's already an odd balance with that where some people they know how to farm it and they farm a ton of them, and then there's only a few people supplying a lot to a huge group demanding a lot. Does that make sense? Either way, there's that. Additionally, I think particularly where's the rank 15 radiant enchantments? They're here somewhere. Here they are. These things are so killer expensive right now on PC. You're gonna pay a good few mil just for one. And to be able to buy one now with just 1,000 trade bars, these things are going to drop in price like you wouldn't believe. If you have extras and you want to sell them now. Don't wait till Mod 19. And this goes the same for all the enchantments, but I think particularly people are going to be buying the Radiants because they're already the most expensive regular enchantment you can probably buy out there. So that's something key to point out. Can't remember. Can you get... Oh yeah, you can get some of these special ones too, like the shiny coin. I think you can get the Tenebris. Yeah. So a lot of these specialty enchantments too. Even some of these rarer ones that are harder to get, like I mentioned, the shiny coin. Getting a rank 15 already as it is, like for one of those, would be actually pretty killer expensive. But now that you can just kind of buy them on basically an equal grounding with the rest of them, it's not going to be worth nearly as much. It's the same with these rune stones, the bonding stones. Everything's going to drop in price. Actually, bonding stones are going to drop really in price too. Nothing really changed with consumables, so I mean, there's that. Epic mounts, I don't think you're going to really see a price change in them because they're already down to like 200k as is. And I mean, 200k for 800 bars, you're not getting your astral diamonds worth with these bars, because if you have 800 already, you may as well save up to 1,000 and get a rank 15 enchanting stone, right? Yo, I failed again. I meant enchantment. So I think the mounts themselves, compared to their actual worth on the auction house, like their price deemed by the community, you're losing a ton of astral diamonds if you were to buy one from the Tradebar Store. On the offhand, there's insignias, and correct me if I'm wrong. I was wrong. Okay, so there's none of the specialty insignias, such as like the brutality, for example, is not here. However, some of these dominance ones, especially now that you can upgrade them directly to legendary, it's kind of a give or take, because now that you can just actually no, the price is definitely going to drop, because instead of needing 2 for a legendary, you can just upgrade this directly to a legendary itself. So again, I do expect a price drop in not just epic insignias, but I think also legendary insignias. Considering too, like you can get them for only 100 trade bars. I should say though, there is a chance we could see a slight rise. What's it called? Like when I say a slight rise, I mean like in even the lower quality insignias. You know, the ones people don't want, like the evasion, or maybe some people like tanks want the courage, the prosperity. You know, some of these lesser ones, the refuge is a perfect example of an insignia no one wants. Those ones, the lesser ones, I feel will go up in price just because you can then convert them to the insignia powder to upgrade other insignias, and there will be more of a supply or more of a demand for those than there currently is. So I feel like they will slightly rise in price, while the more high-end demand ones, like the dominance ones, will slightly come down in price. Does that logic make sense? It's really hard to explain these things, actually. Now, looking at the trade bar, again, for 800, none of these are that great. The Velociraptor is pretty good, and the Deep Crow Hatchling is very good. But for what they're actually worth in Astral Diamonds, again, you're going to be losing quite a few, your trade bars worth. You're going to be losing your trade bars worth, to put it simply. So again, I don't think this is anything anyone's going to buy, so it's not really going to affect the prices that are currently on the auction house. Artifacts, again, I don't know. I mean, like, for 1,000, you're not really going to get, you know, your Astral Diamonds worth. Like, I feel like anyone that gets up to 1,000 trade bars, they're going to be buying a rank 15 enchantment. And I guarantee you, rank 15 enchantments are going to see a huge price drop, but not by that much. Not enough that I think anyone would actually spend 1,000 trade bars on one of these. And I wouldn't advise it either. These are not that expensive at all right now. And it'd be a waste. So again, I don't actually expect a price change for any of these. Maybe a slight decrease, very, very slight. But again, I don't really see any changes to come with this. So we'll see. And then the rest, fashion and dyes, there's not really anything to see there. So that pretty much covers the trade bar aspect of it all. Now, the other thing that a lot of people are talking about is this new Mythic Mount and how it's going, well, actually, not necessarily how it's going to affect the auction house, but more so how much it's going to be worth. And again, that comes down to what people are willing to pay. Some people think it's only going to be worth maybe 14, 15 million, but it's hard to say, like, without knowing the actual drop rate of this, because I presumably, it's going to have a much lower drop rate than a legendary. Maybe not like that much, but it's going to be lower than a legendary for sure. Or the legendary machine, I mean. So, I mean, it's hard to say, but give or take, just as an example, way back in the day when legendary mounts were new to the game, to get a good legendary mount such as the Tensors, you had to pay upwards 35 to 40 million Astral Diamonds. And people paid for that. I paid for it. I bought my Tensors disc for 36 million at the time, if I remember right. It was so expensive. I've never made such a big Astral Diamond investment ever since then in the game. Like, it was worth so much. And it kills me to see how little it's worth now. Just because there's so many legendary mounts, right? And so many people with VIP. Back then, VIP didn't exist, so not everyone had keys, which is what made it more expensive. So you'd be surprised how much people are willing to pay for something. And considering it has a decent drop rate that's maybe half of what a legendary mount usually is, 15 million could be a reasonable price, but at the same time, there might be a really high demand for it because everyone wants to get a Mythic Mount. And that could very well set the prices to be upwards to that 25, 30 million mark, because there are a lot of rich players now in the game that have played for a long time that could afford that. So, personally, I predict this is going to be at least over the 20 million mark, personally. But again, it's going to depend on the drop rate. You know, that's supply and demand. There's going to be a high demand, that's for sure. But is it going to be a high supply or a really low supply? That's where I'm not 100% sure in that equation. But we'll see. That's my prediction, but we'll see. Mod 19 drops June 30th. So then we have the legendary one. And again, it's going to be in high demand for like the first 2 weeks. So if you want to buy it and you have a little bit of patience, you'll be able to save yourself probably like half of the original cost that's going to be in the first week if you just wait a couple weeks. Because once everyone starts dropping them and everyone that was in a rush to buy them has bought them, then that demand drops, so that price also kind of drops. Entices more people to be able to buy it or to want to buy it, right? So if you have a little bit of patience, just wait a couple weeks. It's not a big deal. So there's that. And yeah, I mean, the main thing is going to be the Tradebar Store. You know, a lot of these new things that are main things that people buy and need, they're going to drop in price. And at the same time, it might be good because PC is really overpriced. However, I feel like it's not going to have a good impact for maybe, you know, consoles like PS4 or Xbox where the prices already aren't that high. It's already feasible for new players, right? But I don't know. Like I said, hopefully it doesn't turn out to be a mistake. And then, you know, Cryptic goes and they have to take this stuff off of the Tradebar Store. Even though I'm not 100% sure that would actually be a thing, but that's what it was before. Everyone was getting VIP, buying coal wards with their trade bars, selling the coal wards, and because it increased the supply so much, it dropped in at over a third of its original price. So yeah, it's crazy. But anyways, I mean, I think I'm going to leave it at that. I don't think I have too much to cover. So mainly a lot of drops in refinement regarding like enchantments, runestones, bondings, refinement regents, I guess they're called. The higher ranked ones. The lower ranked ones, it's not going to affect them at all. The only thing that will remain really expensive, and I'm surprised that they didn't add to it, is the rank 4 Mark of Potency, because holy crap, those things can be really expensive. And I did notice on PC, those have actually gone up in price lately since Mod 19 dropped on preview. So it's like, you know, you can get all the higher up ones, and those are going to probably end up being cheaper than the rank 4 mark of potencies because there isn't really an efficient way to farm the rank 4 mark of potencies. It just blows my mind how it can be such a lower rank compared to other regions, and it's one of the harder ones to get. Like, what? But anyways, I mean, that's just me going on a little bit of a rant. Thanks for watching. Ciao for now. Don't forget to subscribe because I have pretty cool idea coming, and I got Chris to approve it so I can actually do it now. So I look forward to that. So see you next time. Okay, so quick this what? Okay, so quick this disclaimer. Okay, so a quick disclaimer. What was I gonna say again?